eggs and things that matter are fooling themselves. We are cheaper or as cheap on all the items that matter, and I make sure of that.
And as Dave always says,
hope to see you soon.
Here's Hart Media Group owner Matt Hart talking about being in front of our audience on multiple platforms.
This what we call the second screen, right? It's the phone, because now we don't watch television one screen at a time. We're constantly watching two screens. You might be watching the University of Illinois football game on Saturday on your big screen, but you've got your phone there. And when a commercial comes on or a timeout comes on, you're watching that second screen. And we want to make sure that we're positioned to be on the second screen, whether it's social media, we want to be there.
Hart purchased the Miller Media Group in Clinton in August of 2025. News time is 8 minutes after 8 o'clock on this Tuesday. Top of the morning from the newsroom of Regional Radio and DeWittDailyNews.com. I'm Seth Lawrence with this expanded 8 o'clock newscast, streaming this morning to Facebook and YouTube. DeWitt County has utilized the same X-ray machine to ensure safety within the county building for nearly 30 years. At last week's DeWitt County Public Safety Committee meeting, Sheriff Mike Walker broke the news the machine that has sat in the county building's lobby since 1997 has given out and needs to be replaced.
Well, I got a message on New Year's Eve morning that our X-ray machine was given an error, not working. So my chief deputy called the 800 number on there, and they informed us that that X-ray machine is no good. It has been in service since 1997 and was they stopped supporting it in 2011. So we've been living on borrowed time with it. The company that does this one no longer does X-ray machines, because that was our first option to say, hey, can you send us a quote? And it was almost an automatic response. We no longer deal with them. So.
The sheriff received a quote on a new machine and feels it could be a useful tool in keeping those within the county building safe. He says it will cost roughly $34,000 with a 3 to 4 month lead time.
So I got a quote from DV Linev Systems for a new X-ray machine would be $34,700. The issue that we have with that, though, since it's over $30,000, we may have to bid it out. I don't know. I haven't talked to the state's attorney to see, since it is a security issue, if we can consider that an emergency and go ahead and move forward. They do offer, but to where you can bypass the bid process. So I don't know if those are things that we could join and then do that, or how that might work. I just now got the quotes back and talking to this gentleman here this week. This new machine would offer things that the current one doesn't, obviously, because it is newer. It has an AI portion to it, where if a weapon goes through, it lights, it actually puts a box around it, draws their attention to it. So I don't think another option that it has, I don't think our metal detector is new enough to do it, but in the future, if our metal detector would go out, it also can link into that, to where if somebody goes through the metal detector and the metal detector goes off, on the same screen as the X-ray machine, it would show what part of the body that the person has the metal on. So that's just something to look for in the future. But since we do have a Garrett machine, I will ask him if that's part of it. Even if we would decide, I mean, I'm not going to have enough information to make it for the full board to make a decision next week. The delivery date, we're looking at 3 to 4 months out.
Without a working machine, the county building security personnel are forced to hand search bags and purses, which puts them at risk of accidental exposure to harmful substances. It also slows down the flow of traffic into the county building.
So right now, when somebody comes in with a purse or a coat or anything, instead of running it through the X-ray machine, the court security front desk people are having to actually physically search that. So it gives an opportunity to either miss something. It gives an opportunity to where if it's somebody coming to court that might have some illegal drugs, exposing them to, a drug or something like that. So it's not a good situation. We're making sure that our Narcan supply up there is up to date and ready to go, just in case one of our court security people would get into something and goes down. Hopefully that doesn't happen, but you never know. With the number of people we have coming through here and the society we live in today, we got a jury trial coming up here in a few weeks. We're going to have an unusual amount of people coming in. It's going to bog down things. Everybody having to open your bag, let me look, type thing. I mean, obviously we won't get it in by then, but that's just an example of things we deal with that, for me, I consider it an emergency. I think it's an emergency to keep our employees safe. That's where we are with that. So.
The committee decided they would move the decision to the full board meeting agenda this Thursday, with the understanding Sheriff Walker may not have all the necessary information to decide at that time. The DARE program is one of the most recognizable pieces of curriculum that Clinton students go through when they reach 5th grade. The program begins this week at Clinton Elementary School, and Clinton Police Chief Ben Lauer says he and his school resource officer, Cody Mayer, look forward to it each year.
Looking forward to that, as we always do. Officer Mayer in the school doing a fantastic job, taking over for Officer Bennett a couple years ago. And that program has enhanced so much over the years with the different programs that Officer Bennett introduced to the system, and Cody Mayer taking over. Can't say enough good about that. And kudos to our guys our staff that have done that, and the partnership that we have with the school to be able to do so. But the DARE program coming up began in I believe, I may be corrected on this, but I believe the DARE program was introduced to the Clinton School District in 1992 by now Sheriff Mike Walker. He introduced the program. I believe that was under maybe Sheriff Gib Burke at the time when they brought it to the Clinton School District. He was joined then, I believe, the next year or two when Chief Mike Reedy came to Clinton. He joined them, and I believe they co-taught it for the first 8 years or so. And then, Chief Reedy really became the face of the DARE program through the late 90s, 2000s, until his retirement in 2013. And I can tell you, very, very passionate about the program, very passionate about all programs dealing with children. Chief Reedy was dubbed the children's chief out in Maine before he came to Clinton, and rightfully so. The DARE program, I remember, Chief Reedy wouldn't share it with anybody during his tenure, but I do know that as he kind of prepared me to take over his role as he retired, he had told me at one time that I promise you'll get 10 times more out of being a DARE officer than you'll ever put into it. And while it's a lot of work and a lot of focus during that time, he's absolutely right. The opportunity to have become a DARE officer was great. Love to work with the kids. It's worked out real well. Officer Bennett and I kind of team taught it, and now Officer Mayer and I are kind of team teaching it as well. And
according to Chief Lauers, the DARE curriculum has been modified in recent years to better address the challenges of youth in 2026. Bullying, online communication, and other challenges kids today are addressed in DARE more so than drugs, tobacco, and alcohol.
It's a 10-week curriculum. We'll actually spend 12 to 14 weeks with different activities that we do, and a field trip or two along the way, and a couple extra lessons that we offer. But, the DARE program is a 10-week curriculum. It's not the DARE program of the 80s and 90s. It's no longer the Nancy Reagan Say No to Drugs. The DARE program was revamped in 2015, actually just as I was becoming a DARE officer, to address some of the issues, to update and modernize the issues that kids today are facing. Quite frankly, the kids of 2026 aren't facing the same issues that the kids of 1984 were addressing. And so, we address things like, obviously bullying is a big aspect of that, but we do talk about in the 10-week curriculum, there's only one lesson that addresses alcohol and tobacco specifically, and drugs. But, we talk about confident communication. We talk about making good decisions and how to make good decisions. There's a decision-making model that we share with them.
In some places, DARE is being replaced or even eliminated, but Chief Lauers continues to believe in the program's effectiveness and feels it is a benefit to the kids of the community.
And while the DARE program, over the course of the last couple decades, has obtained some nationwide scrutiny, I know some programs have eliminated their DARE program. We continue to foster it. I'm passionate about it. Not only do I think that it provides good lessons, but you know what? It provides a positive interaction between our local law enforcement community and the youth of our community.
Right.
And I can't tell you what that has done over the decades that it's been offered here. But what I have seen in the last decade, this will be my 11th year as a DARE officer. I believe it's Officer Mayer's 3rd. But the fruits of that labor, when you see people out in the community, now my first DARE class are now adults. And so, I can run into someone in the grocery store, Chief Lauers, I had you in DARE, And so, When I took over as chief 12 years ago, law enforcement was kind of taking a beating on a national scale due to a couple events that had occurred and just kind of an overall shift in the climate to law enforcement. And, as part of our strategic plan, which I hope we'll talk about sometime here soon, I know you guys were talking about that the other day with the mayor and city administrator. 12 years ago when I took over, one of the focuses in our strategic plan internally within the department was to foster a positive outlook on law enforcement and to start that with the younger generation. Now, knowing then, would I ever see the fruits of that labor during my career? I'm not sure. I am. To enhance that school program, to enhance the DARE program, we added programs at both the junior high and high school level. As I tell them all the time, there's a great big ocean out there. We're just responsible for this small puddle. Mm-hmm. And through programs like the DARE program, our awareness program, our driver's ed program, now he just introduced this year, the Aware with Mayor at the junior high age, constantly interacting with those kids and providing a positive encounter between our local law enforcement and the youth of our community. I hope we'll be investing in the future and that relationship that we have with our community moving forward.
Chief Flowers continues to praise Officer Mayer, who took over for the retired Mike Bennett a few years ago, for his work in the schools and the relationships he is building for the youth of the community. News time is 18 minutes after 8 o'clock here on this Tuesday. We've got a look at sports coming your way next here for this morning. And stay with us. Our high school road tours continue on this here on this Tuesday as we stop in Maroa-Forsyth. That and much more comes your way next on the morning show. Get news anytime from your computer or mobile device at DeWittDailyNews.com. Again, sports comes your way next. Network news on the other side of that.
Central Illinois' news, agriculture, and sports station, WHOW, on all of its platforms, AM, FM, and streamed online, are bringing all the great things happening at our local high schools to the radio in January. We're hitting the road for the WHOW High School Road Tour. Join us when we broadcast live from BMint High School from 9 till 10 in the morning on Wednesday, January 21st, interviewing the BMint High School principal, athletic director, student council president, and one of the club's student presidents. Join us for the WHOW High School Road Tour stop at BMint High School Wednesday, January 21st from 9 till 10 a.m. to find out all the happenings at BMint High School. Brought to you by these sponsors: SimTech Filtration in Monticello, and BMint, a manufacturing industry leader in petroleum filtration, American-made since 1956. And EdgeGuard and BMint, offering high-quality dust barrier systems that are assembled quickly and without any tools.
From the Hart Media Group Sports Desk, IL Sports Wire, and DeWittDailyNews.com, I'm Ben Hubbard with this local sports report. The Maroa-Forsyth Trojans were held to just 6 points in the first and fourth quarters and fell to the normal U-High Pioneers by a final score of 63-36 in non-conference boys basketball action on Monday night at Bloomington Central Catholic. The Pioneers took the lead early, making the score 13-6 by the end of the first quarter. They grew the margin of their victory the most in the fourth quarter, when they outscored the Trojans 15-6. Kobe Lane led all scorers with 19 points for Maroa-Forsyth, 12 of which came from distance. Cabron Lee and Kenny Morris each had 5. Devin Fitzgerald led the Pioneers with 18 points. Owen Kirby added 16 points. With the loss, Maroa-Forsyth falls to 11-5, while normal U-High improves to 16-4. The Trojans will play host to Pleasant Plains on Friday. Tip-off is at 7 p.m. Spencer Knight made 32 saves. Jason Dickinson scored, and the Chicago Blackhawks beat Jonathan Toews and the Winnipeg Jets 2-0 on Monday night. Connor Bedard added an empty net goal as the Blackhawks stopped a 3-game slide. It was Bedard's first goal since returning from a right shoulder injury. Knight recorded his third shutout this season and 8th of his career. Toews played his first game in Chicago since signing with Winnipeg on July 1st. The 37-year-old played for the Blackhawks for 15 seasons, winning 3 Stanley Cup titles. Toews was cheered on all night long in his return to his first NHL home. The Blackhawks showed a video of Toews' highlights in the first period, and the crowd of 19,894 responded with a long standing ovation. Connor Hellebuck made 22 saves for Winnipeg, which dropped to 5-11-5 in its last 21 games. The Jets went 0-2 on the power play. Chicago played without forwards Teuvo Teravainen and Andrei Burakovsky. Teravainen missed his third straight game with an upper body injury, and Burakovsky was scratched with an illness. Chicago jumped out in front on Dickinson's sixth goal. Dickinson settled a lofted pass from Ryan Donato and beat Hellebuck with 13 minutes and 21 seconds into the second period. The Blackhawks had another prime scoring opportunity late in the second, but Bedard was robbed by Hellebuck on a sprawling glove save. The Jets open a 3-game homestand Tuesday night against St. Louis. The Blackhawks visit Carolina on Thursday night. Fernando Mendoza lowered his pads into a defender, spun in a full circle, and used his hand to keep his balance, then launched himself horizontally and reached the ball over the goal line, an Indiana Hoosiers touchdown and a ready-made poster pick for a title run straight from the movies. The Heisman Trophy winners' touchdown Monday night put an exclamation point on a 27-21 win over Miami that closed out an undefeated season and brought an improbable national championship to a program that had known nothing but losing and indifference for almost 140 years. Head coach Curt Cignetti, the 64-year-old coaching lifer, started it. Mendoza helped get the Hoosiers over the line. He finished with 186 yards passing, but it was that tackle-breaking, sprawled-out 12-yard touchdown run on 4th and 4 with 9 minutes and 18 seconds left that defined this game and the Hoosiers' season. Mendoza's touchdown gave Indiana a 24-14 lead, barely enough breathing room to hold off a frenzied charge by the hard-hitting Hurricanes, a team that barely made the college football playoff and barely showed up in the first half of the final before coming to life behind 112 yards and 2 scores from Mark Fletcher. Indiana finished 16-0, using the extra games afforded by the expanded 12-game playoff to match a perfect season win total last compiled by Yale in 1894. 2 fourth-down gambles by Cignetti in the fourth quarter after Fletcher's second touchdown carved the Hurricanes' deficit to 3. Put the quarterback in position to shine. The first was a 19-yard completion to Charlie Becker on a back shoulder fade. Those guys have been perfecting all season. 4 plays later came a decision and play that wins championships. Cignetti sent his kicker out on 4th and 4 from the 12, but quickly called a second timeout. The team huddled on the field, and the coach drew up a quarterback draw, hoping the Hurricanes would be in a defense that they had shown before. For Miami, it was a very close call. A team listed 18th in the first college football playoff rankings moved to 10th and sneaked into the playoff, bringing as many questions about the process as the selection itself. The Hurricanes proved they belonged all the way. Fletcher was a one-man force hitting triple digits for the third time in 4 playoff games and turning a moribund offense into something much more. His first touchdown was a 57-yard run burst through the right side that pulled Miami within 10-7 early in the third quarter. But after forcing an Indiana punt deep into Miami territory, Hoosiers lineman Mikhail Kamara slid past the Canes protectors and blocked the kick. Isaiah Jones recovered to make it 17-7. Miami was in comeback mode the rest of the way. It ended as a one-score game, and the Canes, the visiting team playing on their home field, moved to Indiana territory before Carson Beck's heave got picked off by Jamari Sharp. Taking a look at scores from around the NBA last night, the Milwaukee Bucks beat the Atlanta Hawks 112-110. The OKC Thunder defeated the Cleveland Cavaliers 136-104. The LA Clippers beat the Washington Wizards 110-106, while the Dallas Mavericks with a big win over the New York Knicks 114-97. The San Antonio Spurs beat the Utah Jazz 123-110, while the Indiana Pacers fell to the Philadelphia 76ers 113-104. The Phoenix Suns beat down the Brooklyn Nets 126-117, while the Detroit Pistons beat the Boston Celtics 104-103. Golden State beat Miami 135-112. From around the NHL last night, the Carolina Hurricanes beat the Buffalo Sabres 2-1, while the Colorado Avalanche beat the Washington Capitals 5-2. The Pittsburgh Penguins took down the Seattle Kraken 6-3, while the San Jose Sharks beat the Florida Panthers 4-1. The Minnesota Wild beat the Toronto Maple Leafs 6-3, while the Las Vegas Golden Knights fell to the Philadelphia Flyers 2-1. The New Jersey Devils took down the Calgary Flames 2-1, while the New York Islanders beat the Vancouver Canucks 4-3. The Anaheim Ducks took down the New York Rangers 5-3. Get highlights of your local high school program by finding IL SportsWire on your preferred social media platforms, and get local sports anytime at DeWittDailyNews.com.
Central Illinois News, Agriculture, and Sports Station, WHOW, on all of its platforms, AM, FM, and streamed online, are bringing all the great things happening at our local high schools to the radio in January. We're hitting the road for the WHOW High School Road Tour. Join us when we broadcast live from DeLand Weldon High School from 9 to 10 in the morning on Tuesday, January 27th. Interviewing the DeLand Weldon High School principal, athletic director, student council president, and one of the club student presidents. Join us for the WHOW High School Road Tour stop at DeLand Weldon High School Tuesday, January 27th from 9 to 10 a.m. to find out all the happenings at DeLand Weldon High School.
Wellness starts with prevention. Book your annual appointment online today with